Hey there, welcome to my reflection on day 24. I'm in my fourth week now here on the Camino, and it's a recovery day because of what happened to me yesterday, hurting my ankle, and there's just no way I was going to walk today. And so it became a great day to take stock, right? So I'm going to just take stock with you and then also just share with you a couple of other things that just unfolded over the course of the day. Um, kind of having to just stay put and rest. It took me a little while to get to that space, right? I had breakfast in the hotel where I was at. They didn't have room for me, so I had to move. And so I had breakfast that day. And remember now, I'm giving up potatoes. And so I don't want to have those what they call tortillas. And so I brought my bacon and eggs inside my Gatorade bottle. They gave me a bowl, heated it up, and that was my breakfast, the bacon and eggs I had made the day before. So that was pretty cool. After getting myself settled, I wandered over to the other hotel, and what a mercy. When they met me, they're like, gosh, your ankle's really hurting. Do you want some ice? And it was just like heaven. And then it was the upper reaches of heaven when I went to my room, and there was a bathtub there. And so I was able over the course of the day to vary between putting my foot in really hot water and icing it, hot water, icing, and resting. I was eventually able to get Advil as well, ibuprofen. Interestingly, I hobbled over to the supermarket and they said, "No, we don't sell medicine here. You got to go across to the pharmacy." I'm like, "What? How weird is that? You can't even buy like Tylenol or ibuprofen or Advil or whatever in a grocery store. You've got to go to a pharmacy, and they have it behind the counter." That was funny learning right there. Anywho, my back and forth, I had to go back and forth a couple of times to pick up the what I needed. And as I did so, and after all the icing and resting and heating and icing, it's like, hey, you know what? I actually can hike tomorrow. I can do this. I don't need a second recovery day. And so I made the decision to do that. But before I did that, I took some time to evaluate. And it's important to evaluate, brothers and sisters, right? So all of our lives is a Camino, is a journey that we're taking from our starting point to our end point. You can measure how you're doing on the way. Like, how am I doing based on where I started, and how am I doing based on where I want to go? And so with all this time just lying around, resting my ankle, I was like, wait a minute, let me map out the rest of my Camino. And I realized, hey, wait a minute, I can actually finish this in 9 more days. And I'll be able to get home 3 days earlier. And I checked and rechecked and rechecked. I'm like, do I get the dates right? And I get this, and what's my pace have to be, and all of this. And sure enough, I could do it. And I'm like, okay, this is awesome. So I spent an hour on the phone with Delta Airlines and changed my ticket. I got a ticket that would get me to Paris the night before the morning flight to the US. And I was excited. I called Carrie. She was excited. It's just like, yeah, hey, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to finish my journey 3 days early. But it also meant, wait a minute, how many days do I have that remain? And so all of a sudden, as we're in the midst of our journey, again, a very important practice for you to think about for your own life is, okay, how far have I come? Where am I at? And what do I want to do with the time that remains? And so stop and consider how you can do that in your own life. That would be a beautiful practice for you to do, to reflect. You can journal, you can do voice recordings, right? Whatever form it'll take, whiteboard it out. I do all of those things, and it can be very helpful in terms of helping you get a sense of, wait a minute, I actually want to do some course correction here to be able to make sure that in the time that remains, I in fact am going to be achieving these goals that I have for my life. So that actually became, for me, a theme as I started to reflect on, wait a minute, how am I doing on the goals that I set out to do? So if you go back to my first video, what am I doing on the Camino? Not the first one, but the one just before I started hiking, it was, I've got 4 goals, and I had a chance to evaluate those 4 goals and how I felt like I'd really done in relationship to them. The first one was that living that 10x life. I've talked a lot about that. And the things that were outlined in living that more ideal life, in fact, I've been doing. And so getting in better shape with all of the walking, losing weight because I'm eating so much healthier and in less. Um, Time for prayer. Oh my goodness, yes, so much more time that I've been actually praying and praying for my family, and so detoxing from technology. Yeah, I'm spending so much less time on technology at all, and even though that it's something I feel like there's still some capacity there, some room for improvement when I'm down, when I'm in a hard, tired place, I will revert to using technology to get me across the goal line. So I still have some room for improvement in that. But and then in the 10x Life regarding the real estate work and ministry work I'm doing, right? In real estate, in ministry, it's doing what? I'm journaling, I'm writing, I'm producing videos that are, being streamed on Facebook and YouTube and being turned into radio programs, my podcast. And it's like, yeah, that's my 10x Life. That's exactly what I was intending to do. And it's all happening now. And these videos are going to be turned into a book along with my journal. So I'm writing a book on the Camino. So it's like, yeah, that 10x Life is happening. Check. The second was that being a pilgrim, right? And being a pilgrim is walking a path of prayer and penance and reparation. And you've heard me share enough over the course of these 23 days. Here I am in day 24. Yeah, that has been a dominant theme and a dominant activity of my entire time. Checked the box. And yeah, I've learned so much more as well, just about the reality of being a pilgrim and how that connects to our lives, which I've shared with you. So the third one is seeking his face. And that was connected to the Holy Face devotion, which emerged as a foundational reason for me to be here. And that's one that I feel like I'm in now. And I've got to be a little more patient, I think, with myself, because I don't think I've seen it emerge as fully as I thought it would. And so, interestingly, I'm recording this on the day of the actual conference that was the reason why I came on I got connected to the Camino. I went to tours in the first place, was a meeting about a conference that was going to happen. And I interviewed the priest, Father Lawrence Carney, and he was going to speak at this local parish, and I was helping out. And well, that's today. And so I feel like even though I've done some efforts around my own involvement in the Holy Face devotion, that has been a gap. And so I'm considering now in the days that remain, what am I supposed to be doing to close that gap, right? To achieve that purpose. And the last one is going out to the deep, right? St. Peter, Jesus preaching from the boat of his life. And I'm waiting for that miraculous catch. I journaled out the 16 or 17 people that I've had these meaningful, sometimes life-changing conversations with that involve the Lord and their own journeys. And I felt really good about that, but that doesn't strike me as the fulfillment of this shocking generosity of God manifested in a miraculous catch. I'm like, okay, Lord, I'd love to see what that is. I'm not sure. So in the days that remain, in this time of recovery with the days that remain, it gave me an even greater impetus to say, go hard, go all in, no half measures. You've heard me use that phrase a few times. And so I'm stripping back even more the foods that I'm eating. So, get rid of the bread, get rid of the potatoes, not potatoes are added in. And I haven't been perfect. There was one time I ate some bread, and there was one time I ate some potatoes. No alcohol. That's worked. I haven't had any alcohol. And then now I'm getting rid of sugars. I'm getting rid of sugars that are found in fruits. So I'm shifting out of fruits that carry a lot of sugars and replacing them with healthy alternatives, right? So not orange juice, an avocado, right? So not a nectarine, a tomato, right? So I'm eating more nuts, so to make sure I get protein, but I'm not having sugar. So it's like, okay, I'm wanting to add a level of rigor in the time that remains, because I'm so grateful to God and to Carrie, my wife, for the gift of being able to come away for this number of days, that I don't want to leave anything on the table. I want to just go all in and really live in a way that honors the Lord for the opportunity that he opened to me. And when he's invited me, go out into the deep and lower your nets for a catch, I'm like, Lord, please reveal to me what that means, because I don't know exactly what that means on this trip, but I'm in. So please don't hold back. Bring me out into the deep and overwhelm me with that catch. I want to be astonished and fall at your feet, Jesus, like Peter did, and then follow you that much more profoundly. So that's my hope. There's my sort of my own reflections on that, on the recovery day of making a decision, reflecting that I'm going to come home. I want to live much more intentionally, even more vigorously, rigorously, with intentionality. And so, and then on the, so don't even, there's other things I could mention, but I'll leave it there. Tomorrow I'm going to offer a different kind of reflection to you, just to kind of give you like a little bit of a rundown of how my Camino is a little bit different than I think than a lot of other people's, because of the fact that I need to work. But I'll save that for tomorrow. Okay, God bless.